Welcome back to Let's Play Skies of Arcadia Revisited. I'm 9. As you can see, Vice a little bit impatient to get going. So we have done basically everything we need to do on Pirates Island. The entire island is basically complete. We have gotten both of the moonfish, all, whatever, 5 it was, of the treasure chest, and we found the Cham. So all we need to do left is go talk to Captain Dine. And we need to talk to him, tell him that we have to, that we have to go, that we have to leave. He already knows what we're going to say, though. He remembered a time when he was Vice's age, when he had to get away from his own little island and see the world. Yep, that's exactly what we're going to do. We've got to step on our own path. Don't have to ask for parents' permission. And then from now on, Vice is his equal. A man living in the skies. Blah, 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 blah. I do like this line, though. Late on almost every other occasion, but aren't wasting any time trying to get out on your own. Well, that really explains Vice really well. Time to go make our mark on the world. We've done basically all we need to do. We can talk to Vice's mom. But, yeah, she knows that we'll be out. She knew it was going to come. And, yeah, that's about it. So she's just being oh so happy. There's tears in her eyes. You can't see them because the GameCube can't, actually process that. But, they're there. It's important. Yeah, we're going to take care of Aka. And that's it. We're done. So we are leaving. Quick cutscene. Fina goes ahead and thanks them for saving her from the Valuans, except it wasn't them, it was me, so Fina, turn around and thank me. She hopes to repay everybody someday. We can't but hope. And Dine wants her to keep the moon crystals out of the Valuans' hands. That's all that anybody cares about. Yep. There's that, self-confident smirk on Vice's face. And we're leaving. Bye, everybody! No, we're not sure we want to do this, Fina. We've only just agreed to it, set all the plans in motion. There's no way we can turn this down. It's time to leave. We don't even want to think about what the Valuan Empire could do if they got their hands on those moon crystals. It would be terrible. And we're the only ones who can stop them because we're the only ones who know about them. And this is Vice's excuse to sail the world. All sorts of good stuff. It's time for us to go. Sort of. Kind of. Now that we, Now that they've actually talked to us, and now that we're actually talking about it, they're never going to stop. So, time to go. And there's Aka's trademark wink. Let's leave. Off we go. I have no idea where the crystals could be. Well, now we're going to know where our first one's going to go. There should be a moon crystal hidden in the lands under each of the moons. The closest one is going to be the yellow moon of Valua, and we don't want to go back there. And the red moon of Nasr. And even Dine says there's no chance of getting back into Valua right now, so we should wait on a while before going back there. Instead, go east and we'll reach Nasr. We'll probably never reach through the stone reefs if we were in a normal ship, but luckily, Little Jack now has that harpoon cannon thing that we wanted so badly, so that's going to break rocks for us and get us through the reef. Sounds like a plan. So let's go. Let's stop talking. Let's actually, yep, see there, even Drock was saying it. Let's get moving. Time to say goodbye, Dine. We'll see you another time. He doesn't have to call him Captain anymore, because he isn't. They're equals. That's how this works. Yep, bow, Fina, and we'll get out of here. She is the weirdest veil. Okay. So now we have basically complete control of the ship. We can do basically whatever we want, and the first thing I want to do is fly back to Shrine Island, because there's something I need to pick up there. So we're heading that direction. There it is. So yeah, now we can do basically whatever we want. We can go where we want, for the most part. There are, of course, blocks that will not allow us to go exactly where we would want to go in any given direction. But, the freedom of the game starts opening up here. We still are, of course, bound by the exact, nature of the game, so we can only go in certain directions. But we get to decide how we want to do it. If we want to farm for a while, that's okay. We can explore in any direction that we want, that the game has actually opened up for us. There's no time limits. And if you want to go straight for the storyline, you can do that. If you want to go and explore and find discoveries, you can do that. And wouldn't you know it, that's what I'm going to do. But first things first, we need to go into Shrine Island for a few minutes. Because we are looking for something important that is in here. It's not actually missable. And you'll be coming back here later anyways for other reasons. But it's nice to get this thing early. So let's descend down here. Should have talked about Fina a little bit before we started that combat. Fina does start at level 1. She is immediately a weak character because she's, of course, never been in combat before. And that's something we do have to deal with. As you can hear over my talking, there is a Cham somewhere here. And I'm actually going to talk through this combat because I do want to show a couple things off that I kind of skipped in the last combat because I just wasn't thinking about them. Number one is that Fina has brought with her Cupel. She also brought with her the Silver Moon Crystal, which I'm going to switch to. For the majority of the game, I actually will be running with the Silver Moon Crystal. Remember, Cupel is her weapon. There we go. But I will run the Silver Moon Crystal because it is not only really good, it has some really awesome spells attached to it, including our Revive or Raise spell. But we also want to run with the Silver Moon Crystal because it has no elemental strengths or elemental weaknesses. So if we don't want to worry about elements, we want to run with the Silver Crystal in the first place. Makes life just a lot easier. Now, Fina, her weapon is Cupel. That's what she attacks with, and for the time being, all he's going to do is go barreling into enemies. He's not very strong. Fina's more of a caster than anything. But we're going to end up making her one of the strongest characters in the game. I think she even beats out Vice for raw attack power, with all stats being equal. So we're going to... She either beats him or she's second. I can't remember which. And this Looper has the evasion from God, apparently. And here he goes. They are caster types. I don't think we've ever seen them cast before, but they do have a fairly strong cast at their level. Remember, we're a number of levels higher than we would have been fighting through this area the first time. There we go. Critical hits guaranteed to land. So that was fairly easy, if I do say so myself. And we're going to go ahead and finish up. So Fina might gain a couple other levels as we're down here, depending. But what we really care about is silver. Okay, so the problem here is that I need to get down there, I believe. Basically directly beneath me. So I got to go around. So we're going to fast forward through this. So here we are. This is where the Cham is going to be found at the end of this path right here. We have received Cham 1. And how do we use Chams, you might ask? Well, that's very, very simple. We just go into the items, doesn't matter who does it. We go into, it's under usable items right here. And there they are, 2 Chams. We'll go ahead and feed those to Cupel. And Cupel just became the Cupel Blade. So the next time we fight with him, he will become a sword type weapon as opposed to his usual ball type. A little bit better than it was previously. We're just going to get our way out of here. We're going to have to go all the way back around, so I'm probably going to speed up again just so I can get us out of here. But that is 2 Chams, the first 2 Chams, and that will actually, as I said, get us to Cupel Blade. You might have seen him in the fast forward. I'll talk a little bit more about that when we actually get to combat worth watching. So I'll catch you guys in a second when we actually get out of Shrine Island. We're finally out of the combat section of Shrine Island, so we don't have to worry about combat anymore for a short while. Fina did get herself up to level 5, so it's fantastic. She's not going to be completely useless for the time being, and she'll actually catch up really quickly. Her, I think, Just like Drachma was set to not level up as quickly when he first joined us that we could catch up to him, I believe that Fina is set to level up faster when she first joins us to make sure she can catch up to us, while still retaining that whole, you know, she starts at level 1 because she's a completely inexperienced fighter sort of thing. So we got that. We're going to go ahead and leave Shrine Island, and from here we want to go directly east, I believe. Wrong way. East would be in this direction. Through this rock path that we were previously unable to go through. Now, this is not the direction to get to our next storyline location. We're going here because there's a couple things we want to grab, namely some discoveries. Grab a couple fish as we pass through. Remember, Little Jack is actually a fisherman's boat. We're going to pass right over here over this rock in this wordly direction. Let's point this out really quick in combat. We did gain a couple things while I was fast-forwarding that you may not have noticed. First and foremost, Vice and Aika both learned the silver spell Curia. Curia is our standard cleansing spell, so it gets rid of just about every status ailment apart from actual, you know, death, passing out, whatever you want to call it. So that's the only thing it doesn't cure. It cures just about everything else. Curia is generally pretty fantastic. The problem with it is that, 1, it costs MP. That does cost some SP. And 2, it actually, there's a functionally better version of it that you will get later on in the game that you'll typically want first. So we're pretty much going to ignore Curia for the most part. Just now you were able to see that Fina did use Cupel Blade, so Cupel has gone from smacking into people to, you know, cutting them in half. It's pretty nice. Very little experience in this area. This area is still considered to be the same spawning area as Pirate Island, so you're not going to expect very strong enemies here. Something else that's important to note about the fact that we have 4 characters is that now, first of all, we need to go here south over this green-looking rock right about here. We're going to find the Sky Coral, which is going to be our first discovery that we've gotten since the Guidestones. Microorganisms called sky coral attach themselves to moonstone boulders and grow to form these reefs. They flourish only in very specific conditions and can take up to 200 years to grow. Their various colors and shapes have been long valued for their beauty. I love stuff like this. Okay, so then we're going to go almost due north over this gray rock that I was flying over previously. I must have just missed it because there's another discovery to be gotten right there. The Silver Moon Pit. Only small islands such as Pirate Island and Shrine Isle lie in the area where silver moonstones fall, so deposits this large are very hard to come across. Legends say that silver moonstones hold the powers of life, but the truth remains unknown. No, in fact, the truth will remain known, because that is exactly what the silver moon does and what the silver spells do as well. So yes, we are currently in the area of the silver moon, but there's basically nothing here. So something important to note about the fact that we have 4 characters is that not only do we get a lot more spirit per turn, which means we're going to be able to use those AoE skills a lot faster than we normally would, but in addition to that, we also gain more magic experience at the end of every round. So remember, the formula is total magic experience times how many characters you have in the magic, or in the fight, plus an additional however much magic experience it is. So we're gaining more now. So as soon as we walk into Sailor's Island now, after we have actually taken full control of Little Jack, we are met by Domingo. Apparently there's a lot of rumors going on about us, how that we broke out of the Grand Fortress, and this guy wants to, introduce himself. Apparently we should have heard of him. He's a treasure hunter extraordinaire, and apparently we've never heard of him at all, which is a shame for him. But the real Domingo is giving up searching for treasures, is now looking for discoveries. In fact, he's looking for the Topple Rock, which we should find later on this episode or next episode. The reason why so Vice just wants to know who the hell that was, and Aika comments that he's probably looking for discoveries as well, and that we have to get them before he does. So Domingo is the guy who will be searching for discoveries the same as us, and if we wait too long, not time-wise, but storyline advancement-wise, he will actually find and turn in the discovery before us. We can still get completion for it, but we won't get as much money as we would normally, so we definitely want to turn those in before he does. So we go to the lighthouse in Shrine Island, or Sailor's Island, a place I have not gone to before. I decided not to go here earlier. We're going here for two reasons. One, if we climb up to the top of this ladder, we're going to start hearing Cupid going nuts, which means that there is a Cham up here, which is one of the reasons we're up here. Should be right around there. The other reason we're going up here is for this. A bottle attached to a balloon. There's a note inside the bottle asking for Quetya to bring warriors to help fight against evil. Please send warriors to help fight against the Fluans. Vice wants to know who it is, thinks they're in trouble, and that we should probably keep the bottle just in case. That's actually not going to be useful for a very long time, but we're doing it now just so I don't forget to do it later. And now that we have done that, now we can basically head our way out and actually start our progress towards our next storyline objective. We're going to pass by the Sailors Guild on the way out. Sell our current discoveries. We do have 2 new discoveries that we did not have last time we were here. Get a little bit of money for those. And then we're also going to pass by Dock on the way out, too, because I believe we have 1 or 2 moonfish that we need to turn in before we move on. Let's make our way over here to the Guild Master. In we go. And here we are. Hi, talk to me. So we're going to sell some discovery information. Sky Coral. And Silver Moon Pit. As you can see, we have a lot of money available to us right now. Then now we're going to leave. Now, we have just received what's called a black spot. It's a messel from... It's a message from someone called the Angel of Death. It's a side quest that we're going to follow eventually. Involves a lot of boss fights, and those boss fights are generally pretty hard. It's not something I want to deal with right now, so we're going to save that. But those black spots will come to us, we'll go and fight a boss fight, and we'll leave. And the black spots will come to us over time, related to how far into the story we are and how many moonfish we have found. Speaking of moonfish, where's Doc? There's Doc. Hey Doc, I want to talk to you for a second. Wonderful.
Hi.
There's that sound again. Feed the bird a moonfish. That music in the background is going to get really irritating after a while, I'll tell you what. Okay, that thing's getting big. How much more could it grow? Well, it can grow a lot bigger than it is now, I'll tell you that much. It's going to give us something new, and that something new is going to be a gem of fluidity. It's another accessory. This one's actually not all that good. Only reason we're even caring about it right now is just because it comes so early, and I think it's good for Fina. I think she's the one that likes the Gem of Fluidity, which boosts defense and magic defense, also protects against stone. It's not all that important. Actually, I'm going to skip it because we lose a lot of willpower if we use that. But, you know, it's there. It's something. Fina could always put on Aka's shorts, but I think we're going to skip that. And instead, we're going to travel due east, and then we're going to go in through this rock rift here. This will get us into the land of the Red Sun, into Nasr. As you can see, there's some sand blowing up. And now we need to start looking for stuff. Now it's time to get some discoveries as soon as this cutscene goes. Quick cutscene where Vice and company notice that there's nothing but sand in the air. It's a desert. And now, Aka's going to start imagining what a desert actually can mean. She'll do this for every land we go into. So she starts talking about rumors she's heard that the deserts are so hot that if you walk around in the sun too long, your hair catches fire, and that everyone carries buckets of water around so they can put their friend's hair out. And then Vice will typically dismiss her thoughts, wondering what goes on in her crazy head. And Aka will get all kinds of upset. Don't come crying to her when his head bursts into flames. The glass eye patch will intensify the sun's rays and fry his brain. And then, of course, she acknowledges it's just a story. But you can't be too careful. And Fina will comment on the actual truth of the stones that fall from the red moon to give off a great deal of heat. It's too hot for most plants to survive. The lands of Nasr have been reduced to a barren wasteland. Not much down there besides sands and rock, but the red moon crystal should be hidden somewhere in the desert. We're going to have to find it eventually. It's buried deep within the ancient temple of Pirin. An ancient temple, all kinds of treasure, lots of magic stuff, and some clothes and stuff. We got a bunch of treasures, and we'll be able to buy stuff. What's the first thing Fina would want to buy? And Fina has no idea. What is buy? Aka's kind of worried about that. Tina's never seen the rest of the world before, as she keeps on reminding us And Aika has to remember, oh, right. Everyone buys stuff. It's normal. Believe me, Fina, we'll be buying a lot of stuff throughout the course of this adventure. Yeah, Fina doesn't get out much. Okay, so now that we've seen that, Aika tells us that we need to go to the city of Marambo nearby, and Drachma comments that he's way too old for this. So now it's time for us to go find some discoveries, and the first one we're going to find is going to be on this ridge, somewhere around here. Let's see, where is it? It's on one of these ridges, and I believe it's the one that's over here. You'll notice that the main traveling and discovery theme that plays in the background as we play has actually changed a little bit to include a couple extra instruments. There we are. So there's the Topple Rock that Domingo is looking for, a natural formation of 3 round rocks stacked on top of each other and perfectly balanced. The balance seems delicate, especially when the rocks sway in the wind, but for some reason they have never toppled. So there's the Topple Rock. Now next I want to fly due south from here, and we're going to look along this wall for our next discovery. But first we're going to have some combat, we're going to have some new enemy types. Most especially annoying are these ones in the back, the stone beaks. I'm not going to really worry about them too much because I'm going to take out the swarmers first. So these little blue birds are swarm-type enemies. They like to summon friends, and they tend to be fairly weak. But remember, we have transferred into a new area, so things here are going to pack quite a bit of a punch for the time being. Vice should be able to one-shot most things, so should Drachma, but the other two are going to have trouble. The other problem with the blue birds is that they actually have silver-type spells, and they do have the ability to cast the Eterni line. Eterni is the instant kill spell of the game. And depending on how high up the ranks you go, that'll decide how much chance you have of actually landing the spell. So it can be kind of scary. The reason why the stone beaks are scary is they just have a very high attack stat, and they'll deal quite a lot of damage depending on what you do. They also inflict something called fatigue, which this one's doing right now. Fatigue still allows you to fight as much as you like, but the problem is you're not able to give spirit to your team. So if you use strategies that really require you to use a lot of spirit, fatigue's going to give you a lot of problems. It's a thing that we're not going to have to deal with too much, thankfully. Not a lot of enemies use fatigue, but it can still be a pain in the ass. And one good thing about the fact that we have 4 people is that we are getting a lot of spirit every turn, which means I should be able to use AoE spells a lot more than normal, which is awesome. So it's still going to be a 2-turn thing, but we are getting 6 SP per turn. We only need 8 SP per turn in order to allow us to do our AoE every turn.
We did it!
And so now we're getting 2 magic experience per fight, which is a large amount. So it's, it's 10 every fight. Drachma learned Curia, and we just got a Sylvite ring, which will protect against silver spells. And we need to look along this wall here for that, the star sand. In southern Nasr, there was once a desert filled with sand that would sparkle even in the dark of the night, but slowly their sparkle faded. Some legend has stated that someone saved a sand in a giant bottle and has hid it for centuries. So there you go, there's our star sand bottle. Let's continue looking around. There's a couple other things we need to do. We're just going to cruise on around this corner here. And we are looking for, I believe, 3 more discoveries before we're done. And that'll signal the end of this episode. We also have a new looper type available to us, the red loopers, the Loopalons. Every looper has a different name, depending on the color. But they all follow the same general idea of run first, never ask questions. And then cast spells if they ever get in trouble. But they all cast similar sort of spells, always giving us the, Pyrite type spell. The bugs here are yellow-type enemies. They'll cast Drilln a lot, which decreases the attack stat of the person that gets targeted with it for a set period of time. Luckily, they target Fina, who, even if it did land, it's not a big loss. They're also Swarmer-type enemies, so they will summon more friends. Just waiting for the spells here, but as you can see, from the sheer amount of spells the enemy tends to throw at us, you can see why Aika, with her Delta Shield, is considered to be one of the better allies in the game with that spell, because she simply is able to stop all of that, and it's really stupid to have it in the first place. So we're going to go ahead and let Aika do her Lambda Burst, which should take out all of the enemies on screen at this point. And that's basically the only new enemies that we have for the time being.
That was easy.
So we're going to keep on running with silver for now. Level up for Fina. We're going to keep running the silver spell, see if we can get the next setup, which should help us. I forget what the next setup is. Okay. So a couple things are going to happen in this area. First of all, we're going to go find the Wandering Lake, which is this item right here. Truth behind the story of the disappearing lake is even stranger. Temperature differences make a large bowl of rock float above the desert sands, holding a lake of clear water. Once the water cools off, it settles downward again. So that's the Wandering Lake. That one's actually visible to the naked eye. There's another one we're going to find, which isn't. But I gotta find it. Three more things to catch. Okay, so the first thing we gotta find is a large flying island. There it is. Okay, so our next discovery is going to be up here on the edge of this island. Somewhere. There we are. The Sandfalls. Long ago, a young black pirate searched the desert for the isle that spouts treasure. After a long trek, he was shocked to find that it produced only sand, but he realized that the desert was the true treasure and spent the rest of his years in Nasr. So the Sandfalls are actually above the section of sky that we cannot go above. You know, we only find it because it just happens to have a hitbox large enough for us to find. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is find the Oasis, which should be somewhere in this direction. Okay, so we're just going to go over the desert over here. I actually should have found it earlier when we were leaving the bottle of sand there, but somehow I completely missed it. There's one thing to be said about having such a high encounter rate in the game. It means you level up very fast. The Oasis should be somewhere in this direction. Just gotta find it real quick. Funnily enough, there we are. There's the Oasis. As shipbuilding developed and flight distances grew, the Oasis in the middle of the desert lost some of the importance to its travelers, but is still critical to caravans on land routes and remains lively as a center of trade and information. It should be somewhere around here. Where is it? There it is. Okay, so that is technically the last discovery we're going to make for the time being. I'm going to cut this off now, guys. I think we're running a little bit long anyways. And I'll catch you guys next time as we make our way into Maramba. I'll see you soon.